Mark, the question is, could you do a better job? Because you've just been announced as sidemen manager.
Have I been announced?
Yeah, you've been announced.
Oh, there we go. I've kept that secret for a couple of weeks. No, I mean, look, I think Eric Ten Hag's doing a decent job. I certainly think last season he probably overachieved. This season, I don't really know what's going to happen. Maybe we will finish 5th and not win a trophy. You know, maybe we won't be in the Champions League. But I do agree on Chris Smalling. We never should have got rid of him. I think on Jadon Sancho. Well, Ricky's probably going to have a say on that, but yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, if we did finish outside the top 4 with no trophy, say if we got 5th with no trophy, do you think Ten Hag stays in a job or not?
Yeah. I think that this season the top 8. What do you think? I think the top 8 this season. You could finish 9th and have a good season. You've got Villa, Brighton, Spurs, Newcastle, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. I mean, Man City are 9, and they're going to. So someone's going to finish 9th.
It's going to be tough.
Someone's going to finish 9th, and it could be us, it could be Brighton. So, and 5th place probably gets you Champions League with this new coefficient thing. So I don't know. I think United last season we bounced back from a bad start. Perfect game against Brighton a week on Saturday.
Tough one. I mean, in that game, let's talk about it. We don't know if we're going to have Antony available because of everything that's going on with his investigation in Brazil, being withdrawn from the Brazil national team. You would assume that we are going to suspend him while the investigation goes on.
The pressure's certainly on to do it, isn't it?
Still not had word from it. How coincidental is that if Sancho would have just, like you said on the morning show, kept his mouth shut for 24 hours, he probably would have been starting. But now we don't know if he's going to. We don't know if Ten Hag's going to have them clear the air talks with him, how that's going to go. But I mean, Mark, you said on the morning show with Sancho, and you spoke about with Ben Foster as well. If this was Fergie, he'd be nowhere near the first team again. Do you think Ten Hag, even without having Antony there, will keep him out of the squad, or do you think he'll bring him back in?
I think he should keep him out of the squad because I think a manager sometimes has to bite the bullet. I mean, I remember Sir Alex doing it with Beckham. You know, he would drop him and put Luke Chadwick in, and you'd go, "What is he doing?" But it was a power play, and I think that I agree with Sancho in relation to his frustration. You know, you look at some players that play ahead of him and it must be very frustrating. But the way he's gone about it is the modern footballer getting it wrong and being advised badly. You can tell by how quick he did it within half an hour of a public statement. He's put his own statement out. It throws the fans under the bus, it throws the club under the bus, but more importantly, it shows Ten Hag to be right. Because Ten Hag has basically not picked him and said, I don't think he's right for United. And what's he done? He's proved he's not right for United by putting a statement out which basically says the manager's not right, I'm right, this, that and the other. What he should have done is what anybody should do in life when you don't get something you want, is just double down, keep your mouth shut and work hard, because he also makes himself look bad to any prospective other club. I get his
us having a play we can't shift.
I don't know, you know, maybe that's the motivation, maybe he's trying to force a move, I don't know, but you know, Antony may well get suspended. Sancho's got a real path into the team there, and this is meant to be his sort of last hope season. So he may well still get picked because of necessity. I mean, but my problem with that is that, you know, that just shows you can undermine the manager publicly and still get picked. So from a disciplinarian point of view, I think the manager shouldn't pick him again. But from a necessity point of view, you know, Harry Maguire played at the weekend. You know, we've talked about injuries. I think he probably will get game time, and if he does, I'd like to see him apologise and say, look, you know, I'm a passionate... Because ultimately it's coming from a place that he wants to play. It's not, you know, if he didn't care, he wouldn't put a statement out. So he wants to play. I think he's probably right about wanting to play. He was on pre-season, but I think he's handled it, you know, like a petulant child, really, and he's probably been advised badly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with that, and I think I put a tweet out there saying, well, what did Arteta do with Ozil and Aubameyang? You know, Ozil was one of the great Premier League midfielders, and Aubameyang was really good for Arsenal as well. He went through some dips, but he was brilliant for them. Completely froze them out. What did Pep do with arguably the best fullback in the world at the time, Cancelo? Got rid of him. Yeah. You know, no player can be bigger than the manager, and I agree with you in this sense. Even if he's desperate, I still wouldn't play him. But Ricky, you did send me a message when I was speaking to you about Sancho. We had a little chat about it, and you are a big fan of Sancho, and you said you can understand his frustration with the manager. So do you think, first of all, what do you think about the statement? Second of all, I'm assuming you would bring him back into the team.
I'd bring him back into the team because I think he's such a good player. But I also agree with virtually every word Mark said. One thing I will say against it, though, the little bit about you need to double down, work hard, get stuck in, I think he's already tried that. I mean, he's tried that time and time again, and he's
Has
just
he
not.
though?
Yeah,
I don't think he has.
Well, I believe so. I
you
mean,
know what?
Well, look, they've only just left him out of the squad. So if he wasn't training well last year, he'd been left out of the squad before, wouldn't he?
He's had a lot of things written about him not training well in the past.
Well, I don't know about that. But
But
as far as I'm concerned, they've only just left him out of the squad, and he's forever on the bench. He's forever getting dragged off after an hour when Rashford's stinking the place out. It drives me mad. It drives me mad. I can imagine it drives him mad.
But you know what that is? That's just Ten Hag. Unfortunately, it's the story of life, isn't it? You know, I've seen games, and I like Rashford, and I've seen games where I'm like, well, someone's coming on. It should be Rashford coming off. He won't take Rashford off, and he'll do something
And he'll
like
switch, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I'm like, actually, sometimes Rashford's had a stinker, take him off. But Rashford's one of his star players, and he'll keep him on to the 99th minute if he's hobbling. He's just the way. It's like we've seen. You know, Sir Alex was a bit like it with Giggsy at times. You know, he's just a fan. He's a manager favourite, and Antony as well is his player. So I've always said with Sancho though. I mean, people who watch the channel will know. Everyone's like, oh, let's keep Sancho, and I always say he's on 300 grand a week. He costs 75 million pounds. By definition, he cannot be a bench player. But tell me where he starts in that team, and that's the thing with Sancho. I do not think Ten Hag wants him, and I do not see how he starts because he's got his preferences, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got.